Danny, you could do the same thing sometime if you just took off the first 4 letters of your first name. You and Yee might have pretty close to the same name. How you doing today?
I'm good. He's actually my uncle.
I knew I recognized some resemblance there.
Yeah, we're quite similar. How are y'all doing? I appreciate you having me back on.
Oh, doing well.
You got it. How was the vacation week last week, man? You guys you took a little time off with the wife, celebrate an anniversary. Good for you.
Yeah, it's always important. You know, we like to get away once a year for our anniversary. You know, even for a couple of days. As you get older, you start to appreciate even a 48-hour trip quite a bit more. So she enjoyed it, and I did too. So happy belated anniversary. 13 years married, guys. It's going well for me.
Congratulations.
Outstanding. That's great. So have you been married longer to your wife or longer to your job? Because we all are married to, if you're married to a person, you're probably married to a job as well. Which one's been longer for you?
It's about the same timing. So, I'm going to give the slight edge to my wife.
Good idea.
And she's far more important.
Yeah. All right. I want to ask about these.
Handle that one.
Well, yeah, that was a good answer. You answered that properly. We are going to edit that part out and send it right to her so she can make sure that she heard that. So you saw there's another opening in Power 5 football now after Matt Wells was fired yesterday by Texas Tech. And, I just want to ask about, it feels like there have been more in-season firings this year, and I'm including Ed Ogeron, although he's allowed to coach the rest of the season. How at all can schools without head coaches recruit? We saw what happened when Chad Morris, was let go, and a lot of guys decommitted. Some of them ended up coming back because they, Sam Pittman, I think, was able to connect with them. But, this is the kind of... Do you fire a coach in the midseason because it helps recruiting somehow? It doesn't seem like you could. How can you match these together?
Yeah, we've seen that a few times now, haven't we? And I can tell you, if those schools thinks it's tough right now to keep a class together or to attract other uncommitted prospects, just wait until December after they hire a coach, and he's got about 8 to 10 days to get out on the road before the dead period strikes. We've seen that a couple of times, and let me tell you, that's where it really gets tricky, and you can see quite a drop because, you've got, let's face it, other teams recruiting against you, and they're going to use every bit of that stuff to their advantage. They're going to be telling you, they're about to slide, they're going to hire this guy, he's no good. There's a million things being told to these kids, and for a new coach, fair or unfair, it's a lot to deal with, man, because you're working against it with a short amount of time. You're trying to sign 25 different guys, and you've only got it at some point 7, 8 days, 10 days to get out on the road, get into the living rooms, meet the parents. You're trying to fit probably about 2 to 3 years of relationship building into a span of 2 weeks. It's almost impossible, and we'll probably see that with a couple of these schools. LSU should be okay. They've got so much talent down there. But Texas Tech, yeah, that would worry me to fire a guy mid-season. I've seen how that worked out before with Chad Morris. And, of course, Coach Lonnie stuck around, tried to keep it together, and really did a pretty good job in doing so. But, of course, Coach Pitt comes in, and he wants his own guys. And you totally understand that. But, anytime there's a gap between a class, it can really come back to haunt you. Maybe not up front, but 3-4 years down the road, it becomes quite evident, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. And this week, obviously, for the Razorbacks, it's a bye week, and that means coaches are probably going to be hitting the road, going and seeing prospects and recruits, and wherever the wind basically takes them to find the next group of Hogs to bring here to Fayetteville. How important is the bye week in season for recruiting? And would you say that there's because we're kind of, over halfway through the season, getting close to November. When it comes to recruiting and bye weeks, would it be better to have an early bye week or a later bye week when it comes to getting out and seeing these prospects? Or does it really just not matter and I'm overthinking it?
Yeah, I don't think it really matters that much, Drew, to be honest with you, because, and here's why, coaches, when they go out right now, they're still in an evaluation period, Okay, so that means they can't have any in-person contact with the kid or his parents or anything. These aren't your in-home visits or anything like that. Simply, a coach goes by the school, he checks the kid's transcript. He can talk to the high school head coach and see, ask him all the questions. Is he a good kid? Is he in any trouble? But as far as sitting down with the kid, he can't do that anyway. So I'm not sure the timing of it really matters all that much. As you brought up there, they're certainly going to go out this week. I'm told they're going out Thursday and Friday, so really no surprise that they're trying to, spend a little extra time. And so much of it, we're sitting here talking about the 2022 class, and they just picked up their 19th commitment yesterday from a punter, Max Fletcher out of Australia. And, so many people have questions, how are we going to close out this class? But so much of these evals are for the future classes. They're getting on these 23 guys, class of 2024, your sophomore group. They're doing a lot of homework on those guys, and you can afford to do that because of the early fill-up for this year's class. They've been pretty well full for a few months now, so they've got that luxury at this point.
Mm-hmm. And speaking of Max Fletcher and being from Melbourne, Australia, where Australia's been a place where you've seen a lot of punters and kickers come from, just due to how popular rugby is there to Australian football, which is kind of, from what I'm basically been able to understand, is a mixture between like soccer and American football and rugby and like 5 or 10 other sports. It's crazy.
And the referees are really well dressed.
Yes.
Dude, that's so funny. I just looked up the rules earlier, like 10 minutes before I jumped on with you guys. I was reading about Max's father, Dustin, I want to say was his name, and they were talking about, he was a long-time Australian Football League player. He played in like 400 games. I had no idea what Australian Football League was. I had to look it up, and you're right. It's a little bit different.
I used to watch some of that on ESPN back in the early and mid 80s. That was part of their programming then, along with truck pulls and wrestling and all that kind of stuff. That's actually an entertaining sport. And the officials, I'm not kidding, and if they're still dressed like this. I mean, they had like bowler hats on and suits, and the hand signals made them look super cool. I mean, that's a fun sport.
Looks like an AC/DC concert out there.
Right.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
But yeah, I do want to hit on Max a little bit. Obviously, the recently committed about this time yesterday, I want to say, 6'5", guys. You ever seen a 6'5" punter?
No.
190 pounds, so he may have to beef up a little bit. But his older brother, Mason, actually, he kicks for Cincinnati right now. And as I mentioned, their father was very well known. So the bloodlines are there. I know a lot of people have questions about why are we signing to a full scholarship, a punter, and he's another one. He's going to be on full ride. They're adding a long snapper in this class to a full ride scholarship. But I can tell you this, as far as the punting goes, Arkansas currently ranks 13th in the SEC. That's 119th in the nation through 8 games. That's not good in punting average. So obviously, we're not going to sit here and bash Reed Bauer. He's a good kid, and he's doing his best out there. But and he's had some good moments at times this season. But when you look at the schedule and remember some of these games, guys, doesn't it seem like every team Arkansas plays has Ray Guy out there? I mean, you look at Georgia Southern. That kid was averaging 48 per punt. A&M's guy was 45 per punt in that game. Georgia 43, Ole Miss 44, Auburn 48. It would be nice. Field position is a big part of the game, and Arkansas hasn't had a guy like that in a long time. They don't need Ray Guy; they need a guy at this point.
Can't remember the guy's name. I looked him up recently, but I mean, I remember a punter that won a national championship for Penn State in a Fiesta Bowl over Miami, just on his punting inside the 10-yard line. That pretty much won the game for them. Hey, before we let you go, Danny, I want to ask about 3 positions to choose from here and where you might see Arkansas dipping more into the transfer portal to replace, I think guys that are huge right now for this team but won't have any eligibility left. Linebacker, which just always seems to be like, you need to find a way to rebuild linebacking at Arkansas. That's a long-time narrative. Tackle on the offensive line or defensive end. Which one of those 3 do you think we'd see a few more out of the transfer portal for Arkansas coming into the program?
I got to be honest with you. The answer is all three. I really believe they're going to try to get at least one guy at each of those positions. Now, if you ask me what's the most pressing, man, I would have to go defensive end. You know, that's probably one of the biggest surprises for me so far this year. They still don't have a consistent pass rush. And for as good as Trey Williams has been at times, and he's had some really good games, it sure seems to have dropped off in conference play here lately. So I think all three of those spots, Phil, from a depth standpoint, from an experience standpoint, they need to address all three of those. And if they could find a tight end somewhere, I don't think they would be opposed to, if he's an immediate contributor type guy, impact starter type, I think they could go that route as well. So could be looking at another handful of incoming transfers.
Yeah, I wondered if that would be the direction you'd go there, because it's three positions of incredible need right now.
That's right.
All right, Danny, we'll leave it there. Thanks as always for your time. It's good to have you back on the show, and I'm looking forward to doing it again.
Enjoyed it, guys. Thank y'all.
Got it. Danny West. HawgSports.com, the website, part of the 24/7 Sports Network.
We're back, and better than ever, a new web interface to start the basketball season, and more props, odds, and lines than ever before. BetOnline remains your number one spot for all basketball and football action this season. Head to the new updated desktop or mobile website to sign up today and receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Just use our promo code BELIEVE50 to receive your bonus. That's BLEAV 50 to receive your bonus. From basketball, football, and baseball postseason, NHL, boxing, and UFC, right to your favorite Vegas casino games. Don't wait to take advantage of all the amazing offers available for the 2021 season. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to bet on all your favorite sports. BetOnline, where the game starts.